Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video. In this video I'm going to be demonstrating how you can best use the app MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal is an app that we can take account of our total calories. We can scan food labels and strive to hit some macronutrient targets, so that's your protein, fats and carbs. All these things being important for those who have the goal of fat loss or muscle gain or just generally improving your body composition. So a couple of points to note before we get started. The MyFitnessPal app is available with a free version, which is the version that I've always personally used. The app will probably always try to get you to go premium. As you can see, this go premium button at the top. Just bear in mind that you don't actually need to pay for the premium version to get the benefits of using this app. You will get some extra features with the premium version, but me personally, I've never used the premium version. I've always got on just fine with the free version. So I would assume you will also use the free version, which is what I'm demonstrating today. So to start with, when you first log into the app, you can set up your profile. So the app will likely ask you some basic information about your height, your weight, your goals, all basic stuff. Once you've set up your profile, it is likely to give you some calorie recommendations, and I just want you to bear in mind that if you're being coached by me, I will be providing you some more specific guidelines for your calories and your macronutrients. So it is best if you ignore what MyFitnessPal recommends for you, because it is not taking into account all the information that I will know about you. Also, we want to avoid eating any exercise calories that the app tells you burn off. So me personally, I don't have the app connected to any other software or my phone, for example. If you do use that feature, or you find with the free version you can't turn this feature off, just bear in mind that any calories that pop up in this exercise section, we don't want to re-add those into our remaining calories for the day. So we're just going to try and stick to the goal, and where it says food here, this is what I've tracked for the day so far. We just want to try and get towards our goal and ignore this exercise part here if you can't disconnect that feature. So let's say you do 10,000 steps in the day and the app is connected to your phone and you can't switch that off. You may find that this exercise number here is constantly going up and down based on how much you move and what your phone is connected to and what the app is connected to, sorry. Just bear in mind that we want to ignore this part, because the calorie calculations that I've used and set up for you have already taken into account your daily activity levels. Okay, so important part to note. We don't want to get confused with the exercise calories here, which will be popping up. So assuming you've set up your profile, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to start using the app. First of all, what I recommend is we go into the menu tab here and we scroll down to friends. What I would like you to do is put a friend request in to add me as a friend. So we're going to go down and click this email or username here, and I want you to add my name, Andy Galloway PT. You'll just have to enter your name. You can enter a message, and then you're going to click this little arrow here to add me, and I will receive a notification then and accept you as a friend. Once we've done that, we're going to go again into the settings menu and down into this button here, settings. We're going to scroll down to diary settings, and in the diary sharing option here, if I click this, I can change who I share my diary with. So assuming you've already added me as a friend, all we want to do is make sure this is on friends, and the only person who will be able to see that is your only friend or any other friends that you might want to add. And having done that, I can then have a look at your food diary and potentially make any suggestions. Also, you get some extra accountability of knowing that I may be able to see the food that you're tracking as you go through your coaching with me. Okay, so we're going to go back to the normal screen. Okay, so when you open the app, this is the normal screen that you're going to see. First of all, assuming I have set you some calorie and macronutrient targets, I'm going to show you how to enter those targets. So we're going to go into the menu here. We're going to click goals, and inside the goals page here we have nutrition goals, and I'm going to click calorie, carbs, protein and fat goals. Once I'm in this menu, I can adjust the calories. So this is my calorie target. Let's say I'm going to be aiming for 2,000 calories. I'm going to type that in, click save, and then we have carbohydrates, proteins and fats, which is your macronutrients. And here I can adjust the percentage, so the ratios that we're trying to use carbs, fats and proteins to make up those total number of calories. So let's say I want to eat 50% carbohydrates, 30% protein and 15% fat. I can select these percentages, which gives me the amounts in grams, and these are our targets per day. So just a quick note, we have to make sure that this adds up to 100%. So let's say I need to add 5% onto one of those, and we increase the fats. That adjusts this target here. If we multiply these grams, carbs are 4 calories per gram. So if we multiply this by 4, protein is also 4 calories per gram. If we multiply this by 4, and fats are 9 calories per gram, if we multiply that by 9, the sum of all those numbers is what makes up your total number of calories. So if I save this, as I said, if you multiply 250 grams of carbs by their calories per gram, 4, protein 150 times 4, fats 44 times 9, because that's how many calories are in each gram of fats, that total number gives you your total number of calories. So that's your calories and your macronutrients set. You probably saw there as I scroll through, with the free version we can only adjust these in 5% increments, which is absolutely fine. We're just going to try and get as close as we can so that we can aim for the ballpark figure that I set to you. The most important factor being the total number of calories, and then the exact gram here and there distributed one way or the other with your calories, carbs, protein and fats is more or less irrelevant. Okay, so that's your calorie set and your macronutrient targets roughly set. Back on this screen here you can see your calorie goal. So this is your daily calorie goal, and this is the target number that you're going to be working towards. You can see here that I've added some food already. So I've already added my breakfast into this day's food diary, which is 538 calories. That has then minus that from my daily calorie target of 2,000, and it's given me the remaining calories here. So I know exactly how many calories I've got left remaining for the day, and we can base some of our remaining meals around these targets if we're tracking our calories. Okay, so next up we're going to go into diary, and we're going to be showing you how to add some foods to your diary and how to use some of the features inside the app. So in the diary, once I'm here, I'm in today's food diary. If I click the arrows left or right, I can go to yesterday's or tomorrow's, should we want to pre-plan any meals, but I'm just going to focus on today for now. So you can see I've added some foods into my breakfast, and let's say I'm ready to go on to meal 2, which might be a snack. I'm going to show you how to add and adjust and save some foods into your diary. So we're going to click add food. Now, one of the really useful features in the app is that we can scan a barcode from any food label. Almost any food label, we should be able to scan the barcode and save the exact calories and nutritional information from that label. So to scan a barcode, we're going to click the barcode here. This is going to open up your camera. So I have here a packet of cashew nuts, and when I flick this over, scan the barcode here, it's going to recognize the barcode, and from there it's brought up for me the serving size, which is the nutritional label serving size of 30 grams. So let's say I want to save this serving size. I would just go ahead and click the tick, and that's going to add to my food diary in meal 2. Now let's say I don't want 30 grams, I might want 20 grams. So what I suggest you do with most of your food entries is to click the drop down arrow, and you can go here into, you can select the whole container, you can select the serving size, or you can select per gram, or there'll be various measurements. Some things might be in pounds, depending who's entered the food or which country the label and food is from. You may have some different measurements. I'm going to recommend that you select 1 gram, and then from here, let's say I want to add 20 grams. I'm going to select the exact amount that I'm consuming, and I'm going to click save. It adjusts here, it adjusts your calories, it adjusts all the macronutrients based on the amount you've selected. And if I click the tick, this is going to add, and it says salted cashews added. So that's in my food diary. Okay, so that's your snack added in. You can see it's added to your total food consumed for the day, and it's reduced your total remaining calories. So next up, I'm going to show you also, for those of you who have access to my recipe books, I'm going to show you how you can also use the recipe books to add to your food diary. So if you have the recipe books and you've either printed them or you have access to them on another tablet, the recipe books all have a handy barcode. So I've got my tablet here. Let's say the chicken skewers look good for lunch. So I'm going to zoom in here on the barcode, and I'm going to scan that barcode, and there we go. We can see the chicken skewers recipe, which is saved as a recipe and portioned according to the information in the recipe book. I can scan that barcode and it comes up with the portion. So chicken skewers, 39 grams of protein. As you can see, it's a high protein, relatively low fat recipe, relatively low carbs. And also, just a quick side note, we can see the colors here. Protein is in purple, and in the total calories contained in this portion, we can see most of those calories are coming from protein, because we have this circle line, this purple line here making up most of this circle, and then we can see the fats is this light blue color, and sorry, the carbs is the light blue color, and the pinkish kind of color here is fat. So we can see where most of those calories are being made up from, and because these are chicken skewers, lean chicken breast is going to be providing you mostly protein, which is awesome. So if I want to add 1 portion, I would just go ahead and click the tick here. Let's say I'm having 2 of those. So if I've got 1 portion selected here in the drop down menu, but I want to have 2 chicken skewers, I change that to 2, and there you go. It adjusts the calories and all the macronutrients. So everything has doubled because I'm having 2 portions. From there, I'm going to click the tick, and there we go. That is added in, and it even shows you this food is high in protein. So as well as scanning food labels and scanning labels from the recipe books, we can also create our own recipes, or we can save our own meals, which is something which is going to save you a lot of time as you use this app even more. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. If I go into the search food, I can also search for any item we find in the supermarket. So let's say I want to search for Aldi basmati rice. Okay, I can click any of these, try and find the exact brand that we want. Aldi specially selected basmati rice. I'm going to click on this one. Again, here we can see this is giving me, someone who's entered this into the food diary has put 1 cup, half a cup, or a container. Now that's probably not very suitable for me to use, so I'm going to go out of that. Let's cancel this. And I'm going to select, let's try a different one. I'm going to select one where I can select the exact gram as I just showed you previously. Okay, so I'm going to, sorry, the phone's disconnecting, 1 second. Okay, so we've searched basmati rice. Let's click this one here, and in the drop down menu I'm going to adjust the serving size to 1 gram, and let's say I want to select 50 grams. I enter the quantity of serving size and click save, and there we go, all the information is there. I'm just going to click the tick and add. So here we can see I've got 2 portions of chicken skewers and 50 grams of basmati rice. So let's say now I would like to, I enjoyed this meal and potentially want to eat this again, or I've portioned some extra meals for the rest of the week and I would like to be able to track this a little bit easier in future. What we can do is click the 3 dots here down in the corner and save the meal. So let's save this as Andy's skewers and rice. So I can also click to change whether I share this publicly or just with friends. I can add a photo so that it helps me recognize the meal easier in future. But we're just going to go ahead and click save, and this shows you the meal created. Andy's skewers and rice has been added to your saved meals. So if we dismiss that, let's say that tomorrow we have the same lunch prepared, for example, and we want to go in and add that to any of these meals. We'll go for meal 3. So I'm going to go to add food. I can click meals, and here we go. In the meals menu we can either search for the meal, or we can see the recent meals that we've saved or accessed in our saved kind of files here inside the app. So I'm going to select Andy's skewers and I'm going to tick, and from there we can re-add exactly the same meal, and it doesn't matter if you've got 2 items here or 15 items. If we've saved them as a meal, when we re-add that whole meal, it's going to populate all of those exact food amounts that you had previously saved. Once you've done that, you can even go in and adjust. So let's say I wanted to adjust that to half the amount, for example. If we only had 25 grams, I can go in then, readjust the grams, and I can save that, and it will edit and give me the correct amount for that day's food, whatever we have chosen to consume. Okay, so we've scanned a food item, and we can also we can use this scanning feature for, let's say we're walking around the supermarket, we can pick up a food label, we can pull out this app and quickly scan the label. If we're not sure how that compares to any other foods, for example, we can try and investigate which foods might be a good choice by scanning and using that barcode feature. We can use it to scan recipe books. We can build our own meals and save them for quickly re-adding, which is something I highly recommend you do to save yourself time. And yeah, the more foods we enter and scan, then the easier time we have re-adding food. So as you can see, if I go into add food, I have a whole list here of recently consumed foods, whether that's meals that I've saved for quickly adding before, or it's recent items that I've scanned the barcodes of or searched. Bearing in mind that you can search for any food. All of those come up in your history here. We can also enter recipes and save recipes if we want to be a bit more specific and save particular serving sizes, so that we can re-enter specific recipes. We can do that. Generally I just use the save meal function, and I will adjust the amounts if I want to quickly re-add the same thing. For example, my breakfast is very often the same thing, so I will re-add my oats recipe, and depending on the amounts that I'll have, I'll just quickly go in and maybe adjust the total grams. For example, if I have 60 grams one day, I might have 50 grams the next day, and I'll just re-add the whole meal, and I'll just go in and quickly adjust the grams that I eat on that day. And there we go, we are accurately tracking our food, and we're taking full control over the amount of calories we're eating, and we can also track our macronutrient targets. So we're going to go and have a look at how we start to look at some of those macronutrients now. So if I go back to today's food diary, now we have two options for accessing this nutrition tab here. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom, I can click nutrition, or also this same symbol is displayed at the top here, so this stays in the top. If I would like to check in on my total macronutrients and how those are tracking for the day, I can click the nutrients tab, and you have the options here to scroll through calories. It shows you how your meals are broken down, nutrients and macros. The main thing I'm going to get you to look at is this nutrients tab here. So in the nutrients tab, I can see that my goal for protein is 150 grams. The total food that I've entered into my day is currently 137 grams of protein. This means that it calculates the amount I have left, so 13 grams of protein left until I hit my target. And the same for carbohydrates and fats here, you can also see. So this really gives us some clues on how we should be forming our meals if we're trying to get as closely as we can within our calorie target to hit these protein, carbohydrates and fats. We can start to form some idea of what we can aim towards with building the remaining meals for the rest of our day. Now, if you're following one of the meal plans or the recipe books, for example, we may struggle to hit these numbers, but we can still keep the total calories in check, and we can still aim to eat as close to our protein target as possible. The remaining carbohydrates and fats, if we're in line with our calorie goals, we're eating a high protein diet and we are getting close to that protein target, those are the two most important things. The carbohydrates and fat distribution, or the ratio in which you eat those, it's not overly important. That's largely going to come down to your preference. So don't stress too much about that. Don't stress too much about any of these targets being perfectly hit, because that's not realistic. We're just aiming to keep the calories in check and keep a track of our protein, and the rest is really can be very flexible. Also, whilst we're on this nutrients menu, sugars here, it may sometimes tell you that certain foods are high in sugars, or it may tell you that you're only supposed to be eating this much fat or this much sugars. Try to ignore those kind of warning signs. We don't need to worry too much about that. If we're being conscious of the total calories we're consuming and we're eating in line or trying to strive for the macronutrient targets, then we don't need to worry too much about sugar. We're going to probably struggle to overeat too much sugar should we be working towards these targets. So that's not too much to worry about. Okay, so let's assume we've entered most of our food for the day, but we have a couple of mistakes in the diary and we want to just adjust some of the entries we've made. So if we click the pencil at the top, this is the edit button here. I can either select all and then go to delete, so I can remove all of the food from that day's diary if I select all and delete, or I can alternatively, let's say I pre-plan my food for the next day, and when it comes to it you just don't fancy that meal or you want to change something. Let's say we want to remove meal 3. I can scroll down to meal 3, select those items either individually, or I can select the whole meal and I can go to delete. What that does is it just completely deletes those from meal 3 in your food diary. So the calories are then adjusted and the remaining calories will increase because we've just taken some foods out of your diary. Okay, so one of the best features here with the nutrition, or in the diary tab, sorry, is in the diary tab, when we switch your phone into the side view, what we can get here is the meal by meal breakdown of your calories and all of the nutritional information which you see on the nutrients tab. So this is my phone rotated around to the side view, and here we can see meal 1, I have my oats. It gives you at the top in this meal 1 column the total calories, carbs, fats, proteins and all the rest of it, and you can see the individual breakdown for each item that I've entered, and we can access that through the side view. So you just spin your phone around to the side, and again here you can see as we get into meal 2 it gives me the meal 2 totals, and as I keep scrolling down I can see what those foods are and how those numbers make up the totals. Okay, so that is the side view, and that's how you access a bit more information. We expand what you see here when we flip the phone around to the side to access the diary on the side view. Okay, so we've entered foods, we've saved meals, we've scanned barcodes. We've scanned barcodes from the recipe books, from items found in the pantry, and we can scan food labels in the supermarket should we want to compare any foods. And those are all some really useful tips and features. Just another note on adding foods into your diary. For those of you who are potentially, let's say yourself and your partner are both tracking your food, and one of you might cook a meal and enter food into the diary and you eat the same thing. If we are added as friends inside the app, I can go into my, for example, myself and Rachel often eat the same meals. I can go into her diary if I've added her as a friend. So if I go into, let's get this right, let's go into the settings at the top. So I'm going to click this one here. If we go and find our friend in the friends here that we have, so I'm going to find Rachel, and if I click here, if she has shared her diary to be visible to friends, as I showed you how to do at the start, and I click this here, I can open up Rachel's diary. As you can see at the moment, today, this is her goal, this is the food that she's tracked, so there's nothing tracked in there at the moment. But if I go to yesterday, we can see what she's tracked, and you have the option to save someone else's meal or copy the meal. So she made a pizza for lunch, So let's say I want to go and copy this meal because she made me exactly the same thing and I want to track it. I can click copy meal and I can copy to the date or select here today, tomorrow, yesterday. So if I want to select that and copy it to today, I can also select which meal I want to copy it into. So number 4 is going to be blank. So I'm going to add it to number 4. And there we go. So all of those items from Rachel's food diary have now been copied into mine. So that's just one really useful tip that you might want to use should you yourself and your partner or friend be also living together and eating the same meals, for example. This is a handy way to reduce some of the work required inside the app. So if someone else has added all the items, you can go into their diary and copy it straight into your own diary. Once you've done that, again, if we want to save all of those items and save that meal for quick access ourselves later, we can go into those 3 dots at the bottom of the meal, click save meal. I can add a photo or I can add a name for the meal. I'm just going to save this as Rachel's Pizza and save. So we'll dismiss that, and again, let's say, sorry, a little bit slow. Let's say I want to re-add that tomorrow or the next day. Let's skip ahead the next day. So if I go to meals, I can see here Rachel's Pizza is in my history. So I can click this one and then I can add that whole meal into a future day for time saving. So that's all in there, all the items are there. Again, let's just demonstrate. If I want to go in and adjust one of the items in that meal, I go in, click the grams or the serving size, adjust it, save it, and there we go. We've updated the diary, we've saved everything, tracked everything, everything is accurately recorded, and that's how to do it. So I think that's pretty much all of the features that I would recommend you use. If you have any questions about how any of this stuff works, please do let me know. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's given you a bit of an insight into how to use the app. I do encourage you to use this as much as possible to begin with, to at the very least create awareness around the calories and the makeup of your calories. So for example, nuts are a perfect example. A lot of people don't realize nuts are very high in calories. When we start to look at food labels, we can see that the macronutrient profile of nuts, mostly they contain carbs, fats and proteins, but they're very high in fat. So we know that fats are 9 calories per gram, and when most of the calories are coming from nuts, or most of the makeup of those calories is coming from nuts, we can be a little bit more aware and we can create much more awareness of how we're forming our diet and what kind of snacks we might want to eat at certain times. If we've got lots of carbohydrates left at the end of the day, for example, and we want to try and eat towards those targets, then nuts being higher in fat, we might not want to choose those. We might want to choose some fruit or some rice cakes, for example, and that way when we create a little bit more awareness around the calories and the macronutrient targets that we're striving for, we can be much more aware, we can form better food choices, and we can stay on top of our goals a little bit better, and we can make better progress. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to leave it there. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message, leave a comment on the video. Otherwise, I will see you soon. Thanks for watching. See you soon.